One from campus, how we are carrying on from campus. Come on, tell me one. Campus connection, get another one. Hey, some make us something.
Welcome, one and all to Campus Connection. It's so very good to have each and every one of you listening or viewing. Because, yeah, we're live, you know. I just want you to know that we're
Yeah,
live
yeah, yeah.
on Facebook and on YouTube. If you are just joining the show, you never listened to us or view us ever before. I am Jonathan Fletcher, and with me is my co-host, none
And
other
Mr.
than Ernest.
Samuels.
Yeah. You know, this show is brought to you by none other than Art NSTA Trust. Skill is power. Let's hear from our sponsors real quick.
Jamaica and its workforce are advancing quickly. Life changing opportunities are arising. You need training and support. We are the Renewed Heart NSTA Trust, committed to providing new and emerging skills training and opportunities. Come to Heart. We'll help you claim your place in the workforce of the future.
Yeah, I'm excited about today's show, Jonathan, because
Yeah.
this is a follow-up from our last
Mm-hmm.
episode, and we
Mm-hmm.
are talking about the love for the creative arts, and this is part 2. Now, if you missed last week's show, we delved into some very creative careers. We looked at drama, we looked at digital media. We even
Mm-hmm.
had someone on who did spoken word for us,
Oh yes,
and I mean, it can only get better from here. So on
absolutely.
this week's show, we will be interviewing Miss Ruth Ann Palmer, a singer. We'll also have Mrs. Victoria Neal, a mixed media artist, and we have
Hmm.
an event speaker slash host, Miss Kadian Barclay, aka Journey, and we have Mr. David Sutton, a music minister. So we're delving more into the musical side of things, but we also have I'm interesting to see, especially for our event speaker,
Mm-hmm.
just and a mixed media artist. I'm interested to see how they really earn a living and how they manage to make ends meet in their industries. What about you?
In
In
Jamaica, talk
Jamaica,
about that.
critical.
That is critical because
Yeah,
we're just catching on to the creative arts train. And it's so interesting to me because we are very creative people, like
yeah.
super creative people. But I'm grateful nonetheless. You know, they say better late than never. So
Hmm.
I'm glad that we're catching up with the times. That you don't necessarily have to choose the path of the traditional. You can go non-traditional and still make a very good living from what you're doing. As a matter of fact, just this week I was doing some research on persons who are YouTubers, right?
Hmm.
Which is a part of being creative. And
Hmm.
they were sharing the kind of money that they make on a yearly basis. I mean, some persons were saying that they make like over a million US per
Wow,
year. That is super amazing,
that is
right? So
amazing.
yeah, man. So we want our campus sites to understand that you don't have to go the traditional route. There are so many things out there that you can explore, that you can be a part of. And one such person who would have done that is none other than Shania Shakura Mohammed, and we are celebrating her this week as a part of Black History Month. So this is the final person for Black History Month. She, of course, made history in the field of education as a 16-year-old who earned numerous degrees and is the youngest full-time teacher in the US, according to an article on blackenterprise.com dated August 29, 2023. The young achiever earned her bachelor's degree with honors 2 years prior from Oklahoma Community College and Langston University, and HBCU, a college or university that was originally founded to educate students of African American descent. She continued her academic pursuits to obtain two more degrees in specialties such as child development. This background led her to pursue her already groundbreaking career in teaching. Upon accomplishing her most recent academic milestone, the HBCU graduate announced that her journey would not have been paved without the support of her family. My dad was my coach, supporter, teacher, guide, and everything else he needed to be to ensure my success. I am grateful for everything that has gotten me where I am today. This shows it's very much possible. And the only limits you have is the ones you set for yourself. And that, of course, is a quote from Shania. Yeah, powerful, powerful stuff. Imagine you being a teacher at 16. Can you
At
imagine that?
16. I
Not
know.
Sunday school or Sabbath school, like real school.
Real school.
Real school.
You
That's
know
crazy.
what? That is amazing. And coming up next, we have our education news and bulletin. It is brought to us by Miss Eden Palmer, the president of the UTech Journalism Society.
Education news and bulletin for today, Tuesday, February 25, 2025. Dr. Alfred Sangster remembered for pioneering spirit. As mourners gathered Saturday in the Alfred Sangster Auditorium on the grounds of the University of Technology Jamaica, UTech, to celebrate the life of former president and principal, Dr. Alfred Sangster, they were reminded of his visionary leadership, determination, and contribution to the institution while sitting in the place he built brick by brick. Current President Dr. Kevin Brown described Sangster as a nation leader. He shared that the university is most grateful for the role he played in transforming the institution from the College of Arts, Science and Technology CAST to UTech in 1995 and empowering its students. He shared that the former president helped to shape the school's identity as a leader in technological education in Jamaica. Throughout his tenure, Dr. Sangster championed academic excellence, student development, and national progress, leaving an enduring impact on the wider community and the university. He also noted that Sangster was a pioneer who introduced the only architecture school to the English-speaking Caribbean and 50 new programs while raising the population from 1,200 to more than 6,000 students during his 26 years. In honor of Sangster's legacy, UTech has announced a scholarship for students who embody the former principal's characteristics of visionary thinking and selflessness. And now for the bulletin. Global Prayer and Intercession Ministry presents Prayer Power 2.0. 7 weeks of prayer for the Ministry of Education and our nation's schools, running from Monday, January 13th to Saturday, March 1st, 2025, with main speaker, Pastor Abrahams. Join us at the Hands of Elohim Ministry, the Kingdom Center, shop number 4 Spanish Town Mall, Spanish Town, St. Catherine, or you can stream via Zoom. For more information, call 876-328-1570 or send an email to calltopray24@gmail.com. The St. Catherine High School ISCF Week 2025 will be from Sunday, March 16 to Saturday, March 22. It begins with an official church service to be held at Love Worship Center, that's 95 St. John's Road, at 9:30 a.m. Their annual health fair will be on Friday, March 21, 2025, from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. under the theme Walking in 4D Health. There's a devotional concert with the ministry from Miss Shamar Jackson, Daniel Dixon, St. Catherine High Dance Group, Ruth and Palmer, Audia Spencer Brown, and Perrine Christ. Admission is free. More details to come soon. The Students Christian Fellowship and Scripture Union invites you to the National Students Rally on Saturday, March 22, 2025, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. under the theme Walking Together in the Light at the Ocharis Baptist Church. Save the date, March 22, 2025, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Come on out. Are you ready to push the boundaries of physics and material science? The EPRIS Fusion Quantum Challenge is your chance to showcase your ideas for advancing fusion technology and competing for a share of over 22,000 US dollars in total prize money. 1. Design fusion resistant materials. Propose a quantum case for designing materials capable of withstanding extreme radiation, heat, and stress levels within a fusion energy system. 2. Controlling fusion plasma. Propose a quantum use case for optimizing fusion plasma, control and stability, addressing instabilities to enhance reliability and efficiency. The total prizes: first place, $10,000, second place, $7,500, and third place, $5,000. Submission deadline is April 2, 2025. Ready to have your ideas featured? Help discover new applications and impact clean energy production? Then join the competition today by signing up on the website at quantum2025.org. That was your education news and bulletin for Campus Connection, Tuesday, February 25, 2025. I am Eden Palmer. Please stick and stay with us right here on the family station, Love 101.
All right. Thank you so much, Eden, for our education news and bulletin. Want to invite you to hop on to our live stream. We're live on Facebook, YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
TikTok at Love 101 FM Jamaica. We also invite you to call us on our studio lines 876-968-8327 or 876-968-8328. You can also WhatsApp us at 876-997-3125. And we want to know from you, should more young people be encouraged to pursue careers in the creative arts industry? Is this something that, as a nation, as parents, as fellow young people, we should
Fellow, fellow,
encourage
you sure you
fellow
want to
young
say
people?
fellow?
Yeah, I had to put that in there, you know. Should we encourage our young people
Oy.
to pursue creative industries? Is it viable? Is it something that you can make a living from? And Jonathan, being a creative himself,
Why you
you,
keep singling me out like you're not a creative as well?
I
Fellow
mean,
creative, fellow
I mean,
creative.
because
You are a
I
creative,
just
well within your right.
I am, but we're talking about you
Yes.
right now. So
You're a
so
mix,
what is
you're
your
a
thing?
mixed media creative.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
what I
a
am.
mixed art,
Oh,
yeah. Anyway, here's what I think. Let me tell you what I think. I think Jamaica needs a high school that's
hmm,
dedicated to just the creative arts.
that would be
And I'm not
so cool.
Yeah, so from performing to visuals to digital, all of those things,
Hmm.
just creativity, you go to that high school. I
Yeah,
know we have Edna Manley, but it's a college, so it's after high school.
yeah,
But I feel like we need to start from high school level,
it's true.
like even if we start from grade 9, so you get the basics. So from 7 to 9, you get the basics, and then
Hmm.
you go over now into pursuing the creative arts. I think that would make a very, very, very drastic change in how creativity is viewed in our society.
I love it. I feel like, who do we need to talk to? Because that's an excellent proposal.
All I'll say, if I see this happening,
Uh-huh.
I will need my commission. That's all. That's all. That's all.
You know what?
Just
We should
saying.
probably move on in the show
Yes, you
because
probably should.
Jonathan is out here trying to collect.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Send us a WhatsApp at 876 They will contact me, so I can pick up my commission. Anyway, what we have now? I chose Christ. Yeah, man. So we're going straight into our I Chose Christ feature by Z. Roberto Pasco from the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean, UCC. Listening and be blessed.
My name is Z. Roberto Pasco, and I am a student of the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean, and I am currently studying a Bachelor's of Science degree in Business Administration, majoring in Accounting and Finance Management. My testimony to you is that God has been so good to me. And I remember when I first took God, took Christ seriously, back all the way in 2013 when I was very, very young, around 8 or 9, thereabouts. And even though I may not know who God really is at the time, I know for a fact that I can trust in Him. And I can definitely say that confidently right now. And my testimony, or my first testimony, is that I could have died in my sleep, you know, um, many years ago when I was very young. The doctor said, told my mother, I should say, is that I could have died in my sleep because I had a nasal problem. And I still do have that problem, but it's not as bad as before. And so I had to do surgery to remove something from my throat, from the back of my throat, and I'm doing much better today. And another more recent testimony is that I in January of 2024, so that's last year, I have been in an accident where the only thing I have suffered is well, I won't say suffered, but the only thing I have received is a injury on my left eyebrow. But besides from that, I give God thanks. So I am imploring you all, young people or young at heart, whoever you may be, choose God because He can definitely help you through. I chose God, so do you.
Powerful.
Amen. Thank you
Absolutely
so much
powerful.
to Z Roberto Pasco for that powerful testimony. And we are going to jump to a quick break. But when we return, more Campus Connection. Stay with us.
Where are the campus heights? Students are strap up in a pride. To be sweet, yeah. What a run.
What a one.
Jamaica and its workforce are advancing quickly. Life changing opportunities are arising. You need training and support. We are the Renewed Heart NSTA Trust, committed to providing new and emerging skills training and opportunities. Come to Heart. We'll help you claim your place in the workforce of the future.
The Gospel International presents Breaking Clarendon 2025, Saturday, March 1 at the Maple New Testament Church, 57 Manchester Avenue, Maple, Clarendon, featuring Reverend Gotti Gotti, Orville Sutherland, Son G, Sandra Madonna Lindsay, Levy's Heritage, and many others. MC Nadine Blair from Love 101, DJ Cheney on the turntable. Admission only $2,000 pre-sold, $3,000 at the gate. Children only $1,000. Tickets at Morris Fish and Jerk, Clarendon Park, Tate's Pharmacy, Main Street, Maple, and Gibson's Petroleum, Manchester Avenue. Sponsored by Mick Wade, Gold Line Pharmacy, Resolve, Glory Cards, Morris Fish and Jerk, Archie Eve Funeral Services, Garden Gold, The Justice Suit.
Okay, where are the campus heights? Students are strap up in a pride. To be sweet, yeah.
Welcome
All
back.
right.
Woot woot. Welcome back to Campus
Yeah.
Connection. We are just about gearing up for a very, very, very
Mm-hmm.
exciting discussion. We want to talk about a love for the creative arts. And I do believe one of the things that has gotten progressively more creative is the names of our young people. We just heard a testimony from Z Roberto Pasco. Now you tell me,
Wait, did you hear when he said the young at heart?
yeah,
I
yeah,
feel like I just feel like a
that
bit
was
of
for us,
pro.
Jonathan. That was
Yeah.
yeah.
Me don't know how I feel about that. I'm just saying. I don't know how to feel about that. But it's
I'm
fine.
actually
It's okay.
happy he put that in there. But yes, if you have a testimony, please send it in to love101campusconnection@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your testimony, how God has done wonderful things for you, how he has helped you in whatever way. We want to hear from you. So please do
Mm-hmm.
send us your testimonies. And now we're kind of shifting gears a little bit because we want to get into this discussion on a love for the creative arts. And we have with us, ready and rearing to go, to help us unpack this topic, we have Miss Ruth Ann Palmer, a singer. We have Mrs. Victoria Neal, a mixed media artist. We have Miss Kadian Barclay, aka Journey, and she's an event host and speaker. And we also have Mr. David Sutton, who is a music minister. So, welcome, 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 guys. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for
Welcome.
coming on with us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for
Awesome.
having.
Awesome.
Excited to be here.
All right, all right. So last week we started the conversation. We had someone who was in drama, spoken word, music, and digital media, right? So it's only fitting that we expand the territory, the borders, if you will, to really have a fulsome conversation so persons can truly understand what this whole thing of creative arts is all about, whether it's visual, performing, digital, etc. Um, I think we can start the conversation this way, similarly to how we started it last week. Should more
Mhm.
young persons be encouraged to pursue careers in the creative arts field? And may we narrow it to Jamaica, right? The landscape of Jamaica. Going to ask Madam Mixed Media Artist Victoria, please go ahead and share your thoughts
Wait,
concerning that.
before Mrs. Neal answers her question,
Mhm.
Jonathan said I'm supposed to be a mixed media artist. I don't know what that means,
Yeah,
but apparently I
she gonna
am
tell
one.
who now.
So
She
if
gonna
you
tell us
tell
now.
us, yes,
Yeah.
please, and then proceed to answer the question.
No problem. Mixed media art is simply mixing various types of mediums, whether that be pencils, colored pencils, paint, textiles, clay into one piece.
Okay.
Mhm.
So I don't really identify as just one kind of painter or drawer. I tend to kind of mixing different things to create something that feels a little unique. So that's why I
Mhm.
go by mixed media artist.
Okay.
Can we take it a step further to say persons who are multifaceted with the creative arts? Can we do that? We can make up our
Sure.
own yeah.
Yeah,
Because I
Why
you're
want to
not?
prove
making
it
up
to
stuff.
Anissa.
Okay.
Anissa, I want to
Okay.
prove it to Anissa that she is a mixed media artist. All right, continue, continue.
So to answer your question about whether creative more people should be going into the creative field, I
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
think I'd have to kind of separate this question up a bit because I think
Mm.
we need more artists for sure, especially in
Mm.
Mm.
Jamaica. We need more
What kind of
people
artist?
generally, just people
Okay.
bringing creativity. I see
Mm-hmm.
that as something that is imperative to a
Mhm.
nation that is growing,
Mhm.
not just in terms of money, but in terms of as a culture, emotionally, mentally, physically, every way. I think art is integrated into development. However, the ideal is different from the reality.
Uh-huh.
And if I'm to speak at least personally, my ability to venture into making money off art has been more difficult. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it has been more difficult. I was one of those persons who my father said, "Me not pay for an art degree, you know. Not pay for an art degree."
Wow.
um, but yet he supports it as a side business, you know?
mm.
And so I think I'm going to say do it, but also be multifaceted. Have a
Mm.
backup plan, be able to use your art both conventionally and unconventionally to have more diversity because we're still kind of not really valuing art in the way that we really should,
Mhm.
you know. So I don't want to discourage people, but to also remain pragmatic about it.
Mhm. I love
Hmm.
that. And we have two music ministers on here. Now, I just call me naive, okay? Call me naive, but when you look at just the state of the music industry, I mean, I see probably like 4 or 5 gospel concerts per year, like major gospel concerts. And I know there's streaming of your music and different things like that, but realistically, how do music ministers make a living? And I'm throwing this question to David. How do you as a music minister make a living? And is it easy?
So let me preface that. Make a living off of music, right? Especially music, gospel
Wait,
music.
wait, wait. Can I drop something in that question?
Uh-oh.
Go
Should
ahead.
you be making a living
There
off
we
gospel
go.
music?
There we
Okay.
go. That I was about to angle it that way. I'd
Uh-huh.
say the scope of which your music would need to be streamed and the amount of shows and the amount of traveling and all of that you'd have to be doing as an artist to live off of it,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna take a while to get there. And
Mm-hmm.
so a better bet would be, if you ask me as an artist, I came up being able to play keyboard and doing production and
Mm.
stuff like that. And so you really have to be multifaceted
Mhm.
in this. So just as Madam Neil just stated, you have to be multifaceted, get creative as to what you can do to,
Mhm.
but I wouldn't say make a living off of it. At this, it takes a while before an artist can get to a point where that can be sustainable in that way.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we encourage 9 to 5s in here, personally.
Oh, quite interesting. Quite interesting.
Wow.
Piggybacking off that question, I want to bring Kadian into the conversation. Can we truly put a price on creativity? Right? When you think of the fact that there are artists from different spaces charging different kinds of fees and all of that, can you truly put a price on creativity? Kaden, what do you think?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. What a question, because creativity gets better and better by the day. Your
Mm,
style that you had yesterday is more versatile tomorrow. And
Mhm.
as
exactly.
well, and the production, for example, the equipment, just as David just mentioned, having equipment, having production things to be moving around with, those get costly over time. And so,
Mm-hmm.
in order for it to be lucrative, in order for you to continue to produce, there has to be a price tag on that, which is oftentimes than not more on the dynamic side versus the stable side. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Mm,
Especially if the audience wants the rile up and the nice up. Yeah, I gotta pay you money
mm-hmm.
for that. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it then comes down to whether or not the creative values themselves accordingly. Because I believe the valuation may be for some persons a bit of a challenge to say, okay, am I offering this to accommodate or to fit in your budget? Because um versus a lawyer has his set price, you can ball him down so easily, right?
Mhm.
Versus a creative, which unfortunately in the Jamaican landscape is not viewed as seriously as it ought to be viewed
Mhm.
versus overseas. And as such, I believe that pricing does come down to the nitty gritty of the art and what the creative has to put in versus what they're looking to maintain and to continue with. So I don't
Mhm.
believe like a standard or a stable pricing will
Mhm.
then be applied. However, it all depends also, because remember, we have stages versus a beginner
Mm-hmm.
who's breaking into the market. No, we'll have to go into places and environs where we're working until, or we're working so hard until we no longer need an introduction. But in these
Mm.
introductory phases, we now need to, understand, okay, do I charge here, or do I just go and build a vibe, go on network until I'm able to establish a concrete footing? so that wherever I'm going the next or henceforth, I need no introduction. I just need my accountant by my side, you know?
Mm, I love it. I can't
Quite
wait to get
interesting.
even more into this discussion. It's now 6 p.m. We are gonna jump to a quick break, and when we return, more campus connections. Stay with.
The time by Grace Good Move is
6 o'clock.
oh my gosh, it's Youth Sound.
Hey, this is Vibes. I'm a representative. What? You sound.
Listen for Youth Sounds on Wednesdays at 4:15 p.m. as youths from the Jamaica Baptist Union discuss issues affecting youths and giving their youthful input on the happenings of the day.
Youth Sounds is brought to you by the Jamaica Baptist Union. It is a program of the Jamaica Baptist Union Youth Department.
Youth Sounds every Wednesday at 4:15 p.m. on the family station, Love 101. Youth Sounds.
Youth Sounds?
What do you mean by youth sounds? Youth sounds. Don't know it's youth sound.
Youth Sounds.
Your inspiration for the day. To Caribbean Airlines.
Caribbean Airlines is giving away prizes you love. Strike up your vibes and your vocals to get ready to call in and sing the Caribbean Airlines jingle for your chance to win airline tickets. Tune in Monday, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. during Love in the Morning. Wednesday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. during Morning Express. Thursday and Friday, 1 to 2 p.m. during Alive. Call us and give us the access phrase, home is where the heart is. Welcome home with Caribbean Airlines and give us your best version of the Caribbean Airlines new jingle, home is where the heart is, and you can win a flight from Caribbean Airlines. Visit Caribbean Airlines YouTube channel to listen and learn the jingle. Welcome home.
Home is where the heart is. Okay, where are the campus nights? Students are strap up in a pride.
Yeah. All right. Welcome back to Campus Connection. If you are just joining us, you are currently in the main segment of our show. We're continuing the conversation from last week, love for the creative arts. Right. So before the break, we were trying to figure out if we can truly price or put a price to creativity. Kadian so beautifully explained that no, you can't. You absolutely can't. Right. In essence, but some people do. Right. And the truth is, I asked this question last week, and I think I want to ask it again. Maybe Ruth can add some, flavor to the conversation concerning this question. But how do you know when you should take your creativity as a hobby or as your career? What kind of distinction do you look for? What kind of guidance do you seek concerning that? What are your thoughts?
Well, good afternoon, everyone. All right, so this question is two-part. I can definitely say that singing for, I would say, over 20 years, I noticed as the year progresses that things have changed and the culture has changed and people have become more career oriented where music is concerned. Whilst on the other hand, like myself, I am doing a 9 to 5. So I think it really truly depends on where you are mentally and where God is leading your life. Because even though you may have plans to be successful in the music industry, maybe the Lord wants you to do two things. Maybe the Lord wants to bring you in a industry space whilst doing a 9 to 5 space. It all totally depends on what the Lord is saying to you in that season because everybody's path is so different. I might be able to function with the two parts whilst another person, that's where God is leading them. And, even having information as to how to launch out and to be successful in that area, then I mean, it all depends on what you truly want. Because I'm good with my 9 to 5 and my little 1 2 gigs, while somebody else
Mm-hmm.
is much more successful with doing it full on and just as I
Mm.
said, the Lord is leading you there. If you have the gift, go for it. Wherever He leads you, you follow.
Mm.
I love that. And I feel like that's a good foundation to start with.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times many persons just approach the creative industry as something for them to express themselves, but not necessarily how they can use it to help other people. And that's one of the things. I feel like if you're doing it for the Lord, if the Lord is the one leading you, that's one of the first things He would put before you, how you can use this gift or talent to help somebody else. But here's my question to you. Let me go back. Let me go back to our mixed media artists. Now that I know I'm one of you. We're one and the same. So so what steps should young people take to ensure that they become successful in the creative industry? You mentioned the fact that your dad just refused to pay that tuition when he found out what you wanted to study. So, if I'm in that situation, what should I do to ensure that I can still pursue my passion but still be successful?
Okay. Short answer, I don't know.
Mm.
I am still figuring it out.
Hmm.
What I have learned so far from my own experience, though, is that to be open about the way in which your art is being used commercially. Um, I, for example, started out wanting to sell and exhibit and thinking
Mhm.
that would have been the way, and then realizing I need to market and do social media and do more events, and I
Mm.
hated it. So I pivoted,
Uh-huh.
and I'm actually realizing that I much rather use my art in a therapy modality and therefore would perhaps get more experience and certification in a therapy and then integrate my art into that so that my service of art goes beyond just the visual but the emotional and the spiritual. So
I love it.
I if I were boxed into thinking it had to be done in this one way, then I probably
Mhm.
would have just given up. But I know that experimenting helps. Just throwing yourself out there, seeing what works, acknowledging your limitations. I am not good with the numbers and the business and the salesman thing, so I had to pivot. And so, if you want to be successful in art and you really are committed to doing art, really stick with it. Know that you may not get it right the first time, the second time, the third time, but with experience comes knowledge. And of course, if you can
Mm-hmm.
get help from people in the fields that you want to go into, do that too. Because the more information is, the more you can discern what your path is.
Yes, absolutely,
Love it.
absolutely. Um, so creativity in and of itself, we know it's subjective, right? It's really what you are imagining, what you are bringing forth as ideas and stuff like that. So, David, how do you deal with one, imposter syndrome? So, thinking or wanting to let yourself know that, hey, what I'm doing makes sense. It sounds good. It will be well received. Um, and the whole aspect of persons not necessarily receiving it how you wanted them to. How you deal with that?
With God. Um, but really and truly, this is something that I've had to wrestle with, being just the kind of artist that I am in the Jamaican landscape.
Mhm.
I'm kind of people that say, David, you're white, you know? Like, no, I just express myself in this way. This is how this is the music that I grew up on. Ty Tribbett, Israel Hart, and them the people there. So
Mhm.
this is how I've come to express myself. And so it's something I've wrestled with. But one thing that I've come to learn is that number one, be true to yourself, because as an artist, that is your most valuable thing. There's nothing more valuable than your uniqueness and your individuality as an artist. So don't make nobody tell you anything. If they call you on a program, they've called you to be you. They never called you to be Kevin. They never called you to be Rhoda. They called you to be you. And also, the beauty of that is that just because of just how infinite the world is, in terms of like there's billions of people, everybody expresses themselves differently, everybody experiences all sorts of things. And as much as you think that, oh, I'm weird and I'm, to be honest, there are possibly a couple of people that identify with the way you express and the way only you express, right? And so there you have to find your own crowd. Your own crowd will find you. There will be a set of people that vibe with what you vibe with. And that's who you need to. So you're not making music for everybody. This is something I learned, that, when ministering, you don't minister to everybody. You minister to somebody. If it's one person, fine. If it happens to be a couple, then that's great. So yeah, I'd say just be true to who you are, lucky eye, and make the song white if you're white, make the song black if you're black, right? Just do it, be individual, and and in the fullness of time, you'll find your audience and you'll find your space.
Powerful, absolutely powerful. Just another question, because Ruth, you said something earlier that I found quite intriguing as relates to you balancing between a 9 to 5 and doing the gigs that you would get from time to time. But how do you differentiate in your mind you being able to truly be creative as opposed to you being quote unquote locked up in the rat race of the 9 to 5? Like, do you feel limited, or what's that like?
Well, to be honest, whatever path we take, we will have some level of limitation.
Say it again. Say it again. Yes.
Whatever path we take, we will have some level of limitation. We're going to have to make certain sacrifices for something. There's nothing for nothing in life. So balancing my 9 to 5, I may be limited in being able to create. Sometimes, because personally, I think I have a little touch of ADHD, where I'm always doing a lot. So I can be talking to you, but I'm also doing something else. That's how my brain works. Like, I get a lot of inspiration by being engaged into something else, and I'm being inspired. I could just be listening to music and words are coming to my mind. So, but that's for me. For others, it may not be the same. Some persons need to be, sitting down, holding a meditation, getting the inspiration and all of that. I can just hear music and start right to it. Although I have not necessarily had the time to sit down and go through all of that. But in my earlier years, I know I used to write a lot. Before having a 9 to 5, I used to write a lot. I write a lot of poems, I write a lot of music. Them not gone out yet, but the Lord is gonna work on me.
Bless God.
I know that there is going to be a level of balance that you have to create. Do I feel like I'm stuck sometimes? Yeah. But I still am able to create. I still am able to express myself in different ways. And even in my 9 to 5, I'm able to express a different way. I do multiple things. I can't even talk about women. Jack of all Jill of all trades, maybe.
Jill.
Yeah, I do a lot. Like if I'm to sit and tell people, they will laugh and say, Ruth, you're so busy. But it's always good to keep yourself occupied and, put all of that ADHD energy that I have somewhere and make it be productive. But yeah, it is only going to come back down to the individual and what you're able to balance and how you can, make your creativity work for you.
I love it. We're jumping now to another break, but when we return, I want to hear from you guys on how do you do that balancing act? How do you make it work? How do you still make sure you're creative while still being very, in you're earning an income from your 9 to 5. And I want to know if you have any tips for young people on how they can approach these desires that they have to be creative, to get into that industry, but they also don't want to be broke. So, so when we return, more Campus Connections. Stay with us.
Jamaica and its workforce are advancing quickly. Life-changing opportunities are arising. You need training and support. We are the Renewed Heart NSTA Trust, committed to providing new and emerging skills training and opportunities. Come to Heart. We'll help you claim your place in the workforce of the future.
Be a man, got to be a man.
On the next episode of The Mailbox, we close out the month of February with The Journey with Reggae Part 2. While reggae music is most often associated with Rastafarianism, it is deeply rooted in the Christian church as well. Many artists have woven Christian themes into reggae music by combining it with elements of traditional hymns to praise the Lord in a uniquely Jamaican way. Let's hear from award-winning veteran songwriter, producer, and founder of Catalyst Crew, Mr. Paul Barclay, about his musical journey. The Mailbox is brought to you by Solid PVC Pipes, manufactured in Jamaica by Fosrich Company Limited. That's Wednesday, February 26th at 5:30 p.m. only on the family station, Love 101, celebrating 32 years of sharing hope, touching heart. The Mailbox, Monday.
It's all about the gospel. So tell me back one bang campus. Things are going on bang campus. Come on, tell me back.
Welcome back to Campus Connection. It is officially our Love for the Creative Arts Part 2 episode. And of course, Campus Connection is brought to you by the Heart NSTA Trust. Skill is power. And just before the break, I asked our guests a question. I wanted to know how they manage to balance their love for the creative arts with their 9 to 5, with their everything else that they have going on in their lives. And Kadian, I believe you should be the first one to answer this question. Because as an event, you're a speaker and you're a host. And how should young people approach that balancing act?
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for that question. I heard Ruth Ann come in and she said, it's really everything we do, we consult God first. And I tell you, I'm such a testament of such. Because glory to God, I work remotely. My 9 to 5 is remote based and it's flexible, thankfully. So if I need to give a keynote speech here, if I need to host a conference there, I'm able to go. I remember when I was stuck around the desk and the computer, literally, like having to travel out to work. And I say, God, like, help me to be more mobile so that one, I can evangelize for you, and two, I can really do what I want to do. The passion, when it comes down to the balance, right? We have to really find the passion, find our why. And the older I get, the more I recognize the why. Finding the why is so important because that is what will fuel you. They say how what your passion is one, if you're willing to do it for free. And two, if you're also willing to do it, if someone would wake you up at 3 a.m. in the morning, you're willing to do it for free at that time as well. So that's that's what what your passion is, what you're truly passionate about. And finding the balance is really not getting lost. Because the 9 to 5 can really kill your creativity, and especially if you're working in an area or in an organization that is very rigid and does not accept or seek to foster a sense of creativity. It can really dampen that side of you. But one, of course, pray for the opportunities to come up. Two, networking is very important. So as soon as you get your foot in the door, you're gone clear, I believe. So especially for youth, those who may be studying too, those who may be just entering the 9 to 5 market, it's so important to get networking online or even in person. Find that conference, find that seminar, find the places, you know, and then go to them and then just start getting your foot in from there. What can also happen is that in your field, if you can so choose or if so allows, you can also be a creative in the field as well. I was doing some research earlier about an accounting career, perhaps per se. You know, how best can you formulate new models and new ways and new mindsets of looking at these things? You know, Ruth had mentioned that she was a writer at once. How can we then incorporate all of this in order, for an effort not to stifle that creative side of us? Because I believe I can, but I'm going to ask you guys, can you share the sentiment that the 9 to 5 is kind of stifling and a little bit scary, especially when you know that the creative side of you is just oozing to just be released, just balling to come out? So I believe, especially for the younger ones, what I would highly suggest is getting the foot in the door in terms of networking opportunities, and also just honing in on that art, that side of you. Just really keep it fed so that the 9 to 5 or the burdens of school and what have you doesn't kind of out that spark. You know, so it's so important.
Powerful. Absolutely powerful. Thank you so much, Kadian, for that. And just to dig a little deeper, even though we don't have much time left in the show. David, based on being a music minister in Jamaica, you would have said that your style, your approach to music is a lot different from what we're used to within the Jamaican culture. How do you then create such a frame of mind or a mindset, if you will, to ensure that you do what you need to do whilst keeping the bills paid? Because we want to provide some practical solutions to our campusites who are listening. So they probably want to be music producers, artists, etc. What are your thoughts concerning that?
All right. So firstly, I'm currently a student, actually. But that still ties in because I'm studying media. So what happened was similar to Madam Neil's issue, where my parents were like, "No, we're not going to pay for that. We're not going to, you know." So then it then became, all right, how do I still be creative? How do I still use my knowledge, the things that I've learned, what I know is on the inside of me, and channel that into a way to, get paid? Where I landed was with media, because I've always had a passion for media. I've always had a passion for TV, radio, all of that. And so I'm able now I've made productions even now, because I do freelance work and stuff like that, where I need a jingle and I'm a musician, so I'll produce the jingle myself. So ways like that is what you'd use to kind of use, to bring in the knowledge that you already have into making money. So it really comes down to being creative and being multifaceted. So I'd encourage anyone to really learn as many things as you can in music. If you can learn production, that is a plus. If you can learn the mixing, if you can learn the audio engineering, if you can learn the graphic design, right? I've done entire albums and stuff like that when I'm not paying nobody if you do no graphics, no nothing. So that is where it comes down to just being creative and trying to use every skill that you can and never stop being a student.
Yeah. And just to expand on what David said, because I need persons to understand, campusites to understand that you don't have to be locked up in a box. So not because you are, quote unquote, just a singer, There are a lot of things that you can do. There are weddings, funerals, corporate events that you can sing at. There are so many opportunities out there, but you just have to think with a wider scope when you're
Yeah.
approaching the whole aspect of being whatever it is that you are.
Hmm. And we definitely want to applaud David for just being a part of the Campus Connection team. And I remember hearing some of the times he would do our promos for the show, and he would even do sometimes our education news and bulletin, and the level of quality that his productions would come with. As a creative, you never really think about, okay, you have to employ creativity in order to make your mark, because you're thinking that all you need to do is just live out whatever that passion is. So if you're a painter, then you think, okay, let me just paint. But even inside of making your mark, presenting yourself to the industry that you're a part of, it does take creativity to do that too. And one of the things that I'm learning from our guests today is that seek the Lord, ask Him, Lord, how can I creatively express this talent, this gift that you've given to me, and not lock myself into a box? So, yes, thank you so much, guys, for just taking this time to unpack these things with us. And I believe my final question would be, if you can give some words of encouragement to that person who feels like, I want to study photography, but I want to, well, my parents want me to study computing, or I want to study, I don't know, singing, but my parents want me to be an architect. How would you encourage them? Let me start with Ruth, and then I guess David and Victoria, you guys, and Kadian can go next. But Ruth, what are your thoughts?
Okay, thank you so much for that question. I would say to them, again, strike the balance. If you are passionate about the arts and let's say you're met with disagreement from your parents or whomever will be paying for your tuition, etc. Just like David did or Miss Neil, they did something, yes, but they also pursued their passion. Okay, they had best of both worlds. You don't have to limit yourself to one thing. If you love something, you will do it. And as Kadian said, you'll do it for free 3 o'clock in the morning if somebody wake you up. Yeah. If you love it that much, pursue it. And it's always good to have something on the side, or if that is the activity that you have on the side and you have a 9 to 5 or whatever it is that is paying your bills, because we really can't live free these days.
Oh,
The
yes.
freedom there is in Jesus. But apart from that, we will have monthly bills and we will have things to pay for. So
Absolutely.
we have to be wise, we have to be smart, and just as a creative, you have to be innovative. So think of ways that even if you're in a certain area of work and of your career, you can put your passion, you can express your passion in that area of your work. So
Love it.
it doesn't have to be limited to any one thing. You can have it all. So go after it.
Absolutely.
I know they're listening, so they must just go after it. Go after it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I'm so sorry, guys. I wish we could have heard from more of you as you gave your words of encouragement, but unfortunately, we're out of time. And we certainly do want to thank you for joining us in this discussion. We appreciate your inputs, your insights, and just all of the interesting things we've been able to learn over the course of this discussion. Unfortunately, that's it for our topic today, the love for the creative arts. Thanks again for being with us. And thank you to our viewers and our listeners for taking the time out to make it Campus Connection. We certainly had an interesting show, interesting roundup. you know,
We
and we
did.
want to say thanks to the Campus Connection team, to our hardworking production team that works just so well to make this all come together. Thank you again to our guests, to those who are part of the discussion, and just to everyone a part of the show, and to you, our listeners, our faithful viewers, those who took the time to comment. Thank you so much. And we want to say a special thank you to our sponsors, the Heart NSTA Trust. Skill is power. Until next week, I'm Anesta.
And I'm Jonathan. Take care.
You're to the Family Radio in Jamaica. We love 101 FM.